So, how to set up a business in Dubai. You've got a great idea, you want to pay 0% tax, but you've got no idea how to do it. Well, you're in the right place, I can help you. I've just been through the process, so let's dive right in. Firstly, there are two types of business. So, there's a mainland company and there's a free zone company. So I have a free zone company. The free zones are certain sectors around Dubai that are special economic zones, I think, where people or businesses can set up these free zone companies that will pay 0% tax. So there's a couple of them dotted around Dubai, like there's Silicon Oasis, Shams, Internet City. There's a bunch of them. I'll have to look them up, but there's a whole bunch of them that you can use, and they kind of compete with each other to provide different services and things like that for people that might have different types of business. So there's like a media one, there's a internet or online business one, these types of things. There's a finance one, so if you're setting up like a hedge fund or something, then it's probably best to go through these guys. I don't understand the full details as to why that would be better. I'm sure if you inquired, they would be able to help you. And then there's the mainland business. So the main difference is if you have a free zone company, you can do business outside of the UAE, you can receive funds into the UAE, and you're not paying tax on it. But if you are in the UAE and you have a physical business, so let's say you're selling t-shirts, then you would need a mainland company. You couldn't do it from a free zone company. My business, for example, is recruitment. So it's like consultancy services. So we sell to the US and the EU, mainly the US, and we receive funds into the UAE. We are also allowed to operate within the UAE as well. So I think 90% of businesses, that will be fine. You can operate in the UAE as well as, selling to local businesses as well as international businesses. 90% of cases, it will be fine, but you just need to check and make sure, this is not official advice. Do your own research. So the good news is that it's actually quite simple to set up a business in the UAE. Now, notice I said simple, not easy. So the problem that you're going to face is you're going to be dealing with these free zones, and they're very busy. There's a huge amount of work that they do, and I really struggled to drive that process forward. So usually you think, well, I'll send an email, I'll call, I'll fill in the forms, I'll do all of that, and it'll just go smoothly. Unfortunately not. To give you an example, every email that I sent took about sort of 2-3 weeks between replies, and I hadn't filled this in correctly, I hadn't done that, or now I need to do this, and it was just a nightmare. So with all of that said, I thought, right, okay, how am I going to get around this? And there are lots of businesses in the UAE that will help you relocate. So they'll set up your company for you, they will arrange your visa, they'll do your medical, it's like there's all of these like one-stop shop services that will do all of this for you. So I thought, well, that sounds like a good idea, because the way things work in the UAE, and you don't really know until you're here, I think anecdotally you might know about it, but without contacts and personal connections, it's very difficult to get anything done, especially like governmentally. So without those connections, you're an outsider. So what I did with GenZone, links below, but more about them later, is they have strong connections to these free zones as well as government and people that can help you with your visa and stuff like that. So everything just goes way, way smoother. So I ended up going with a company that wasn't GenZone, and I basically got scammed, and that's not for a lot. Well, I say not for a lot. It was about $1,300. It's a lot of money if you haven't got it, and I don't want to lose that money. But this kind of relocation and company formation and real estate in the UAE is full of scammers. Usually they're like Indian companies, but the guys at GenZone, they're Canadians actually, and they have a vast network of people within the UAE to help you. So that was mistake number one, was A, trying to do it myself, and then paying one of these companies that basically just took the money and did nothing. And to say I got scammed, I gave them the money and just nothing happened. It was worse than dealing with the free zone themselves. So luckily I hadn't paid them a lot of money, and I just cut my losses and ran, kind of thing. So that was mistake number one. And actually, since being here, I've met another guy who I won't name, but he might be watching this video. He had a similar problem, not with the same company, but a different company. So it's Rife here, again, an Indian company that did like all of the paperwork for him, his immigration documents, his company formation. He ended up getting the wrong kind of company. There were spelling mistakes in his name that somehow got through. There were all sorts of issues that caused him all kinds of problems. He ended up going with the guys that I use, and obviously it all got sorted out. But the problem that he's now got is that everything he does is now under way more scrutiny because all of his documentation was messed up, and the governmental powers that are here, whenever he does anything, there's like an extra layer of due diligence that he has to go through, which is a massive pain in the arse. Not that he's doing anything wrong, but it's just something you don't need. And the lovely thing about Dubai, or at least what I've noticed, is if you follow the rules, if you're, doing what you should be doing, you're leaving people alone, you're not causing problems, you're abiding by the law, you're doing legitimate business, you're not scamming people, that kind of thing. So long as you're doing that, you kind of get left alone here, which is lovely. Again, you need to be not making a nuisance of yourself, but you just get left alone. Whereas like in the West, they're always on you. And if you run a business in the UK, or I would imagine the US, Canada, Europe is exactly the same. You're under constant pressure that there's this document to file, there's that document to file. Whereas here, you're just kind of left alone. So this poor guy, he's got sort of the eyes of Sauron looking at him, and I'm sure that'll pass. But these are problems that you don't need. So go with a reputable company. Honestly, GenZone are probably the best that I've come across here. So to give you an example of the type of service I received, I had a UAE company set up in a week, like 3 days, maybe it'll take 2 weeks, something like that. You could also have the whole immigration process done in probably 3 weeks and be here in 4 weeks. The service they provide, because they're doing this like 50, 60, 70 people a month. So I arrived, I got my documents stamped at the airport. They had laid everything out, told me where to go, gave me a map, a little picture of where I needed to go. It was easy, got my documents stamped, came into the country, and they had somebody meet me to do my medical. Which was great for me, because when I first arrived, I was so anxious. It was just a nightmare because I just couldn't get my head around the system here. I think you'll see in a previous video that I had real problems when I arrived. So having to navigate the medical system and getting my blood test done and where to go, how to do that would have just been impossible. So they actually, they've got people here in the UAE. They told me the medical center to go to. They arranged the appointment. This lovely guy met me. He brought me through the facility, dealt with all of the paperwork, the bureaucracy, the doctors. All I had to do was just turn up. It's a real like white glove service. It's the value they provide is invaluable. So if you've got, yourself, a wife, kids, all of this kind of stuff, and you've got the stress of moving here for not really a lot of money in the grand scheme of things, all of this just gets taken care of you, and it's kind of cheap at twice the price. So the service with GenZone, I guess, is kind of like a done for you service, so you don't really have to think. Once you've got your company set up and you're here and you've done all of your documentation, you're ready to rock and roll. You get the banking sorted, which again GenZone do for you. You'll need personal banking, you'll need business banking. It's done slightly differently over here, so they courier everything to you, and you have to be present to receive it. You have to show your Emirates ID, which is another thing GenZone do. They get you the ID sorted, which is like your government ID card. You can't do anything without that. You need that everywhere you go. You want to do an eye test, you need the Emirates ID. You want to rent a car, you want to get your driving license, you need your Emirates ID. So once you have that, it's kind of the key to unlocking everything else. So yeah, once you've done that, you're ready to rock and roll, ready to do business in the UAE and pay zero tax. So hopefully that was helpful. Check out GenZone below. They are fantastic. I can't recommend them enough. You can book a meeting with either Kevin or Cheyenne below. They'll talk you through the process, they'll talk you through pricing. Obviously that's free. It's about 45 minutes. There'll be a questionnaire if you look, you can answer all sorts of questions, and it'll tell you about pricing and things like that. So have a look, see what you can see. And if you're thinking about coming here, I highly recommend it. I love it here. It's great. I'm having a lot of fun. Also, check out the NordVPN links below. Every single second I'm on the internet, I'm using NordVPN. I'm in hotels and I'm in various public Wi-Fi spots here, and Dubai is a real traveler's hub spot. So you've got lots of people here from all over the world, lots of very wealthy people, lots of crypto bros, lots of tech savvy people. And maybe I'm super paranoid, but I do worry about using public Wi-Fi and people being able to snoop on what I'm doing. Even just internet service providers like the hotels can see websites you're going to. So I don't particularly want that. Not that I'm doing anything I shouldn't be doing, but I don't want that, and I'm sure you don't want that. You'll get 71% off of NordVPN if you sign up with my link. It also helps the channel out a little bit. We don't make a lot of money from it, it's a couple of quid. But if you are thinking about getting a VPN, Nord's awesome. I use it for Netflix, I use it for restricted content on YouTube, I use it to stop being snooped on, you know, all of those kind of good things. Anyway, enough about NordVPN. If you're interested, link down below. But if you're thinking about coming to Dubai, and it's just an idea in your head, you're at home, you're in the UK, and you're thinking, I'm sick of this, I'm sick of the government overreach. Also the budget that Starmer talked about, it's gonna be a tough budget. Like, what does that mean? Check out GenZone. It's entirely possible. You don't need to be earning millions to get out here. You know, if your business is doing a couple of 100,000, 100,000, you know, it makes sense to get out here. Comment below, subscribe, like, all the rest of it. I will answer all comments, and if you want to have a chat with me, if you've got any questions, comment below and I'll help you out. All right, see you in the next one.